Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar EB-5 Now and Next, latest updates for investors. In behalf of Drummond Advisors, thank you for taking the time to join us. This will be an interactive session, so please feel free to submit your questions at any point through the Q&A in the Zoom. We will address as many of them as possible for our speakers. And today we are really pleased to have with us two distinguished speakers, Pedro Drummond, partner at Drummond Advisors, and Bruna Canto, managing director at First Pathway Partners. Together, they will share the latest developments in the EB-5 program and offer insights on what investors can expect moving forward. Before we begin, I would like to briefly introduce Drummond Advisors. We are a consultancy specialized in international transactions, supported by a team of internationally certified professionals. Drummond has offices in Boston, Miami, Orlando in the US, and in São Paulo and Belo Horizonte in Brazil. And we have over 15 years of experience supporting more than 13,000 clients with a total team that exceeds 400 employees. Make yourself comfortable for this presentation. Feel free to send questions on the Q&A and have a nice webinar. Pedro, Bruna, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Lucas.
Thank
Thanks
you,
a lot.
Lucas.
Thanks, Bruna, for being here with us. First Pathway Partners and Bruna, our long-standing partners. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Bruna had this idea to address the market about the latest news on EB-5. EB-5 has been around for a while, but it has changed. It is going to change. So it's a good timing for us to talk about the latest, but we will not talk only about the latest. We will go back to the basics. Bruno will speak about the program or the project that FPP now has for investors and etc. Before we get into the subject, an important legal disclaimer. This is an educational event, so you will get general information about the program, the immigration rules and regulations. This is not an offer to buy or invest in any securities specifically. This is important for you to understand. Once you decide to move forward with an EB-5 project, you need to seek specific advice on your case, okay? Drummond is happy to assist you individually, but this needs to be done separately from this webinar. This is an institutional and educational event only. So, Lucas mentioned a little bit about Drummond. Let me mention just a little bit about myself so you can understand the content and the background I bring to the subject. I'm a lawyer licensed in the US, licensed by the New York State and also Florida State. And I specialize on business immigration, corporate, and tax. I lead this segment here at Drummond, the legal segment. Within the legal segment, we have the business immigration. And within the business immigration segment, we represent individuals in several EB-5 petitions. EB-5 is an investment program. We're going to speak about and give you the details of it. That leads to a green card, a permanent residency in the US. Details to come, and before the details come, I will pass to Bruna so Bruna can introduce herself on First Path as well. Oh, just a little about our clients. There was this slide. We represent several entities as well. Those are some of the entities that trust their immigration services to us, okay? Bruna, thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Pedro. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. So I am Bruna Canto. I'm the director for First Pathway Partners, also known as FPP. We are an American company headquartered in Milwaukee, authorized as a U.S. regional center since 2008. So we're one of the longest standing regional centers. We have helped over 650 families from over 45 countries obtain their green card through the EB-5 program. We have 100% approval on I-829 on the permanent green card stage of the process. And we have worked with 18 projects in the past, many of which are hospitality, with names that for sure many of you know, such as Marriott, Aloft, Kimpton. We really like the hospitality model for EB-5, which is proven to work. And the project that we have now is a resort that I will talk about in more detail at the end. FPP was founded by Bob Kraft, who is very well known and respected in the EB-5 industry. And proof of that is that he was elected for 6 consecutive years president of IIUSA, which is the National Association for the EB-5 program. IIUSA is working very closely with Congress, with Washington, D.C. to get the program reauthorized. And FPP is working very close to IIUSA in this process. So our part of the process here is to offer the projects that qualify for EB-5. So for anyone that is interested in EB-5, you need an immigration attorney, which is Pedro here in this case, and a regional center that offers the projects that qualify for the program. So that is our role here in this process, and we have done this for a long time, as I mentioned, and we work with various developers. It's important to mention that we are not the development company for this project or for any of the projects that we have worked in the past. So we are an independent regional center. So I'll pass it back to Pedro, and then I will talk more about FPP's project after his part of the presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Bruna. Thanks. Impressive numbers, by the way. And it is important for investors to choose reliable projects with a good track record. FPP definitely does have impressive numbers. Guys, let's get started, and let's get started from the basic. What is an EB-5 after all? The EB-5 is a petition for a green card. EB stands for employment based. Every time you learn about the EB, or you have those 2 letters, you need to understand that you're talking about green card petition. You have EB1, EB2, EB3, EB4, and EB-5. The EB-5 category is the green card through investment. So here's the very first concept that I want you to understand. EB-5 is an investment that will lead to your green card. And that's important for you to understand when I get to present the differences to the so-called Trump Gold Card, okay? EB-5 is an investment. A key point to consider as an investment, the approval rates for EB-5 when compared to other options are much, much, much higher. At Drummond, for example, we never had a denial on EB-5. And on other categories, sometimes denials do occur. Why? Because other petitions, they are more subjective. I'll give you an example. EB-1 is also a type of petition, green card petition. EB-1 is for the so-called extraordinary individuals, and it's a long petition where I have to detail several aspects of achievements of someone. There's a great deal of analysis and room for a subjective analysis by the officer that's adjudicating the petition. On EB-5, on the contrary, EB-5 is pretty straightforward. We discuss the source of funds and the project, the investment that you chose. So the approval rate is more black and white. Of course, that you need to choose a good project with economic feasibility, the financial risk, you need to assess the financial risk. There is financial risk involved in the investment, of course. Bruno will speak a little bit about this. The return usually is not a much large return because you're choosing something that is solid, reliable, and that will create jobs. The EB-5 program was designed by Congress to create jobs in the US. So basically, a foreigner invests in the US, that investment creates jobs through the EB-5 program, through developers and so forth. And based on that, on those job creations, you are requesting the green card. Okay? So again, it is an investment. That's the very nature of the EB-5 program. I mentioned the so-called Trump Gold Card, which is a brand new program. Most of you have heard about this before. President Trump has been very talkative about this. And at the probably, I think it was September or October last year, he finally published an executive order creating the golden visa, okay, or the golden card. What's the difference, just to be clear? The EB-5 program, which we'll discuss here, is an investment-based immigration program, meaning you invest and you are repaid down the road, okay, when your investment comes to an end, depending on each project you choose. On the contrary, golden visa is not an investment. It's a payment-based fast track. So you pay, okay, you never get that money back. It's a payment-based fast track option. Sorry, this last, so the left here on EB-5 is wrong. The golden visa is a payment-based fast track, okay? It is not a green card. It is not a green card. The golden visa will allow you to bypass some lines, some people that are in line, and the EB-5 program is the green card by itself, okay? Important, the EB-5 has been established by US federal law, so much more stable. We'll speak about whether the program will lapse or not, when it is expected to be renewed by Congress. And on the other hand, the golden visa was created by executive order, not by law. So a new executive, a new president comes up, may just not renew the golden visa, okay? While the EB-5 requires Congress to approve or discontinue the project. I wanted to give you this comparison between the two because the Trump Golden Card has been very, it calls a lot of attention, okay? So the EB-5, what are the requirements and advantages? Let's get started. The EB-5, you as the applicant, you will petition and make an investment on the so-called regional center. There are two types of EB-5s. One is the so-called, what I called active EB-5, meaning you invest on your own business and you create the jobs, 10 jobs in 2 years. There is the other program, which I call passive EB-5, which is through regional centers that we will speak here. We're going to cover just the so-called passive EB-5. On the passive EB-5, you as the petitioner, you choose a regional center, a project, and you invest $800,000. That program, that regional center, will choose a project, and that project will create the jobs. Important. On the passive program, meaning the regional center program, the jobs created can be direct jobs, which is very important because it facilitates the requirements, right? Then you will obtain your conditional green card. 2 years later, we need to go back to the USCIS, to the immigration, to prove that those jobs have been created. If those jobs have been created, the conditions on your green cards are removed and you have a final definitive green card. Down the road, a little bit later, maybe 5, 6, 7 years, depending on the project, you get your money back because you have invested. Bruno will speak a little bit about the risks of the investments, what you should be looking for. Okay. Remember, two set of concerns. One is immigration, other is investment. As the immigration lawyer, I will be discussing with the government that you have all the requirements to obtain a green card, and you should also be having a look into the investment to secure a safe investment for your money to return. Okay. Here on the screen, there is an important advantage of the EB-5, which is the adjustment of status. Okay. What's the adjustment of status? If you're inside the US at the moment that we petitioned for the green card, the very first petition, the I-526, we can, as of today, we can file what's called concurrent adjustment of status, meaning we file already the request for you to obtain your status as a permanent resident, your work authorization. This is something that's not available in other petitions, okay? And in the past, EB-5, a few years ago, this was not allowed. This was changed, the last change of the EB-5 law, and it's now available, okay? The adjustment of status is especially advantageous for international students, okay? So if you are a student in the US now on your F visa or your J visa, for example, you may wish to consider the EB-5 and adjust status right away. So this is something that you can keep in mind. This is an important option for you, okay? So how the EB-5 program works, just a quick chart for you guys. So you're right here, you're the foreign investor. These three guys here in a tie. You have this money, you transfer the money to the regional center. How much money? $800,000, okay? You make an investment on the regional center. The regional centers do work with the developers and the entrepreneurs that will receive this and create the jobs, okay? So your money is being channeled to real enterprises that are creating jobs. Bruno will explain a little bit about how this calculation is done, the fact that the regional centers can use indirect jobs to count as the 10 jobs. And then with this in mind, we petition to the government and you will be in a green card. Okay? That's how it goes. Step by step, what does the timeline look like? You select the investment, you talk to regional centers, you review offerings, choose the option that best align with your goals, and then you invest $800,000 or 1.05, but in this case here, $800,000 on the eligibility. We validate the job creation, and then we remove conditions, okay? The project repayment and return of capital to investors is down the road. Speaking about the forms, okay, this is a general timeline of your investment. How does the immigration go? The forms themselves, okay? I will show you right now. Guys, there are all types of forms on immigration, okay? Oh, I heard about I-140. Oh, I heard about I-485. What's all about? On EB-5, we start the petition with the I-526. The I-526 is the form in the petition, the very first petition, where we discuss the source of funds in the project that you have chosen. The $800,000 that you are investing must be justified to the government. Okay, we need to prove that your funds are legitimate. Do I need to discuss your entire assets? No, just the $800,000 that you are investing. What type of source of funds can be used? Any type, any type. For example, I inherited $800,000. Can I use it? Yes. I sold my company. Can I use it? That cash? Yes. Big question. Somebody, okay, I borrowed from somebody. Can I use it? Back in the days, the answer was no, unless that loan was guaranteed by a real estate asset. Nowadays, the answer is yes, you can borrow that money, okay? This is important because you can borrow from your parent. You can borrow from your rich uncle. You're a student, you are 22 years old, you are in college. You're thinking, oh, wow, I may finish my college and I don't have a work authorization in the US. Can I borrow that money from my parents, or can my parents donate to me and I apply for the green card? Yes, you can. Okay. So that's the kickstart of the process, the I-526. If you are in the US, we have the option to file the so-called adjustment of status together with the I-526, which in that case, we file Form I-485 together with the I-526. If you are outside the US, we don't have that option. We file just the I-526. The I-526 will take about, depends on the project, whether it's rural or not. Nowadays, Bruno, correct me if I'm wrong, but you are seeing petitions being adjudicated 6 months or so, 4, 5, 6 months?
Yeah, we give 6 months as the average. We have seen the fastest we have seen is 3.5 months.
3.5. Wow. You see, guys, it's pretty fast, especially compared to other options. Okay, EB-5 is a great option on that. So within that time frame, we're gonna hear from USCIS. The term we use is the USCIS will adjudicate the process, okay? Meaning they will just analyze and judge whether you should be approved or not. Most likely, as I said, we never had a petition denied. You're gonna be approved on the I-526, and then you move to DS 260 if you are outside the US. You receive your green card by the end of that process. You come to the US, you get in with your green card, and then it starts a 24-month conditional period. Why is there that 24-month conditional residency period? Because during that time, the project is creating the job that you promised to create. And then after that period, we need to go back to the government to say, listen, my money created jobs in the country. That's a discussion on the I-829 last step. The I-829 is called the removal of conditions. What do we discuss at the I-829? We discuss whether the project created the jobs or not. If the project did create the jobs, you get your final green card, and there are no conditions attached anymore. Okay. It is quick compared to others. It is very straightforward, and again, approval rates way higher than other options. Okay. Important topic here, and I promised to you that I would speak about latest developments. Very important, guys, and I call your attention to this. The EB-5 program, the Regional Center program, was created by Congress, and it has a certain date to lapse, to expire, which is going to happen on September 30th, 2027. Watch out for this date here, September 30th, 2027. By that date, the program is set to expire unless renewed by Congress. The law has a provision that says that anyone who petitions before September 30th, 2026, so 6 months from now, okay, about 7 months from now, you have until September 30th, 2026 to petition. It's the so-called grandfathering deadline. If you petition before September 30th, 2026, your petition will be analyzed by USCIS. You have the right to have your petition analyzed, regardless whether the program expires or not. So picture this. You petition today, before September 30th, and by September 30th, 2027, the program finishes, ends. Congress does not renew. Does that affect you? No, it does not. You have the right to have your petition analyzed. If everything is in place, you have the right to your green card and so forth. Okay. However, if you petition after September 30th, 2026, but before September 30th, 2027, in other words, within that time frame, your petition will be analyzed only if Congress renews the program. Okay. Oh, Pedro, do you think Congress will renew or not? That's the $1 million question. Oh, and by the way, before I get there, on January 2027, the amounts that we're talking here about the $800,000 will be adjusted based on inflation. Okay, the law has that provision. Pedro, whether do you think Congress will renew the program? That's the $1 million questions. The $1 million question. Here's my answer. We know President Trump is not a big fan of the EB-5, so chances are that he's going to push for the EB-5 to be either increased in value by September 30th or not renewed. On the other hand, Congress is very sensitive to the program. Congress, the lawmakers, they are very sensitive. They understand the importance of the EB-5. So Congress is likely to renew, although the president might be pushing not to renew. So between the two positions, what should you do? You should rush. Just hurry. There is no time to waste. Okay? This is something very critical for you. If you are considering applying to EB-5, don't delay your decision. Don't delay the process. Okay? You might be at risk. Bruna, the floor is yours. Now you're going to talk about the fun part, the investments. And
Yes.
very beautiful project. So floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to talk about Ameyali, which is our new project. It has just recently launched. But before I get to the project, I just wanted to go over a little bit more details about what we do, our track record, a little bit more about FPP. Okay, so as I mentioned at the beginning, for those that didn't join us, we were founded in 2008 by Bob Kraft, who is very well known in the industry. We have 100% success rate on the I8 to 9 phase. Various projects, 18 projects in the past that have been approved, and we have returned the investment on multiple of these projects. Okay, obviously not all of them because some of them are still ongoing, but we have 100% success rate and have worked with investors from all over the world. I am I'm from Brazil, but I am in Miami. I'm based in Miami. And here on the next page, you'll see our team, which we have a global team. Our headquarters are in Milwaukee. Okay, so a lot of our team is at our headquarters, operations, etc. All of our support team is in Milwaukee, and we have directors such as myself globally. So we cover most of the regions that have a lot of demand for EB-5. I work mostly with Latin America, but I can, help investors from anywhere. And we have people that speak different languages. We have someone that covers India, China, all the countries that have a lot of demand for EB-5 are represented in our company. This is Bob Kraft, who I already spoke about a lot. He was very important in the reauthorization of the program a few years ago in 2022 when he was president of IIUSA, and he continues to work with other members of our organization very closely with IIUSA and Congress to now reauthorize this program once again. This is just a few examples of our global presence, some media channels where we have been mentioned throughout the world. And on the next page, you can see some of the past projects that we have worked on. So for sure, names that many of you recognize. Real estate development is what most of the EB-5 projects are. And we currently have a resort, which is, in the model that we really believe that works for EB-5, which is construction of hospitality projects.
Bruna, just a quick question for you.
Mhm.
Very interesting that you are highly focused on hospitality and with great success, right? Usually construction and hospitality is a good choice because it's labor intensive, so it's somehow easier to create jobs than other industries, correct?
Yeah, one of the reasons is because you continue also to create jobs during the operations. Most of the jobs are created through construction. That's why most EB-5 projects are real estate developments. But in the case of hospitality, you have all the jobs that involve operations. So you do usually have more jobs created than other types of projects. So it is something that we really like.
Nice. Okay,
This is just a example of the approvals that you can expect to get if you apply for EB-5, the two stages of the process that Pedro already went over. So the first one is the I-526E approval, and the second one is the I-829 approval.
that's the letter that you want to receive from the mail, on the mail. Okay, the approvals you will
Yes.
receive.
Yes. And then these next 3 pages, I will be sending, we'll be sending this presentation to all of you. It just talks about, how we select the projects. So we have a sophisticated and conservative approach to selection of the projects. So as I said, we are not the developer. We look for projects that we believe are the best for our clients, for investors. And obviously, not only on the financial side, but also taking into consideration aspects of the EB-5 program and the law, right? So we need to make sure that a lot of jobs are created. The location of the project is very important nowadays. As Pedro mentioned, there are priorities, there are reserved categories since 2022 for which affect the time that it takes to process your petition. So the fastest today is a rural project. The one that we have now does qualify as rural. So, we do look for rural projects so that our investors can receive the fastest approvals possible. We want projects that create a lot of jobs. We like to have a big cushion in the creation of jobs to minimize the risk that jobs are not created, because if the 10 jobs are not created, you will not be getting your permanent green card approved. So the next 2 pages, you can go through the next 2 pages. They just talk about in detail, everything that we do before I'm showing you this project here. So we have an underwriting team behind me that, as I'm here today talking to you about Ameyali, they're looking for the next best project that we can find. Okay, so not only that, but during the investment period, we're also continuously analyzing, visiting, making sure that jobs are being created, sending updates to investors, and staying very close to the developer to make sure that everything is going as it should, so that our investors not only get their money back, but get their green card approved. Not only the conditional green card, but the permanent green card.
Bruno,
Okay.
let me just add something. You mentioned getting the money back. In the unlikely scenario that you investor, you choose a project that does not repay you, that doesn't mean your green card will go away. Okay, guys, are two separate things. The green card is linked to the creation of the jobs, not to the return of your investment. This is not a scenario that you want to find yourself in, where you have the green card, but you don't have the money back. I'm just emphasizing that if this happens, you still have your green card. But again, choosing a good regional center, you will get your money back. When talking to Bruna, you always emphasize and you learn how do you choose the projects that you are investing in? What are the features of the project? So you understand the investment that you're making and that you get your money back. Okay, the investment back when the investment cycle finishes.
Yeah, that's why it's very important to work with regional centers that have been in the industry for a long time,
Good track record.
that have a lot of experience, so that this is a pretty long-term relationship that we're gonna have, right? Usually about 4 years or so at least. So you want to make sure that you're working with a company that is going to be around, that is not someone that is just now starting to work with EB-5, and it may not be around and may close or may decide not to work with EB-5 anymore in the middle of your investment process. Okay, so now I'm gonna talk about the project that we have now, which is Ameali. This is a rural project. Okay, so you should get the fastest processing times possible if you invest in a rural project. If you can go to the next page, we'll have a summary of this project. It is already under construction. This is also important because we already have jobs created for the first investors. So this is a project that we just recently launched. We have numbers, job creators from The Economist showing that jobs have been created already for at least 13 investors. So the first 13 investors already have those jobs, okay? And obviously, these jobs continue to be created as there's expenditure on the construction or on the project. So whenever we finalize the project, we expect to have over 2,125 jobs, which is 2.7 times the required. Okay. The maximum number of investors for this project is 79. Which is 63,200,000. 79 times 800,000 is 63,200,000. And this represents about 30% of the total cost of the project, which is 209 million. Okay. As you can see here, there's a lot of equity in this project, and the EB-5 portion of the loan is a senior loan. Okay. So first mortgage, there's no bank loan senior to EB-5. EB-5 investors are first in line, the only creditors, the safest position to get your money back. Okay, so if something wrong happens, which obviously we don't foresee, this would have to be if the developer defaults on the loan, which is not something that happens very often, but we obviously have to think about that. This is the safest position to be in a EB-5 lending position.
Bruna, just to emphasize from a legal perspective, just to get the audience a legal input, very important this structure, and Bruna emphasized well, you're first in line. You are a creditor of the project. You are not a partner. So in the unlikely scenario that the developer defaults, you're a creditor. You're going to collect your money. You're first in line. So interesting legal structure and very beneficial to the investor.
Correct. I think we can go to the next page.
There is some excess job creation here, 2.7x, if you can.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah, 2.7 times the required, right? So since we're looking for 79 investors, we only need 790 jobs created, technically. But obviously, we always try to have a very large cushion, which is in this case 2.7 times.
reduces the risk. Great.
Okay.
Okay.
Throughout the presentation, you're going to see various photos of what the project will look like, and also we have real photos of what it already looks like because it is already under construction. This is just some examples of what you can expect to see as far as approval times for a rural project. These are based on our past project, which we just closed, called Kaya. Very similar, also hotel, also in Utah, rural. The I-526E, the fastest we got was in 3 months and 21 days, but the average about 6 months. Okay, so this is what we use as an expectation for those that want to invest in Ameyali as well. And for the adjustment of status, which is the I-485, 5 months and 23 days. Okay, so again, these are very fast processing times. I've been working with EB-5 since 2017, and I had never seen processing times this fast. Okay, so this could change. I don't know, Pedro, if you have seen anything faster than this, but I think this is
Never.
pretty fast.
Never in history. Never, ever. So it's a very good moment to petition for EB-5. It's been very fast.
We can go to the next page. Okay, so this is just a little summary of what the project is. There's a residential component and a hotel component. The EB-5 funds, they are going to fund the hotel, not the residences. The residences, they are already under construction. There are 22 fully furnished 4-bedroom models, and then there are 2 larger ones, family homes, and 23 smaller ones. Except for the 23 cottages, the larger ones, they're sold in fractions. So $3 million is the cost for the entire home, for a 4-bedroom home, and they're sold in ACE of 375,000. So very accessible. Of the 8 that are already built, 6.5, they're sold in fractions, so 6.5 are already sold. One of them is being kept unsold because we use it as a model home. So if any of you want to go see the project, we are often taking immigration attorneys, investors, anyone that wants to see the project can go and see for themselves in person. Okay.
Yeah, this is very important. You know, we had clients in the past that like to go visit the project. This is something that we encourage clients to do. So
Yeah.
reach out to Bruna. You can go and see in person. Helps to understand what's going on, what we've been doing. Important. I didn't mention, sorry, but just to clarify, you don't need to live around the place where you're investing. Okay, you can invest in Utah and live in New York, no problem whatsoever. This is different in other cases. For example, if you are investing on an E2 visa, you need to run the business. You need to be where your investment is. EB-5 is completely different. You choose a project and you go live anywhere you want. You're gonna do whatever you want. Okay.
So other than these homes, there's the hotel, and then there's going to be a wellness center. So this whole property is being built around some hot springs, medicinal waters that are located there, which are going to be used for treatments, for everything in this wellness center, which is going to be the hub of the whole project. Okay. This project is located right next to Park City in Utah, very close to Deer Valley. A lot of people know these two places for their ski resorts, but there's a lot more to do around there. This is just some of the places that people like to visit around the resort. So this is a all year-round location. Okay, so people don't only go there to ski. There are things that happen throughout the year. Utah is a state that is growing a lot for its tourism. So this is considering that this is a rural project. So rural projects are usually in isolated, usually harder to access places. This is a huge find, okay, because it's very easy. If you go to the next, I'm not sure if it's the next slide that shows in a little bit ahead, you're gonna see how easy it is to access the resort. Salt Lake City is the closest airport, and it's only 45 minutes away, and it has direct flights from pretty much every major city in the United States. Okay, so the Sundance Film Festival happens there, where the project is located. Every year, it's the largest independent film festival in the world, and it attracts thousands of people. So this is just one of the many, many things that happen and that bring a lot of people to this region.
Oh, here's the flight.
This
Flight
is what I
there.
was looking for. So it's very, very accessible, different than our past project, which was also amazing, but it was in a more remote area. So for someone to visit that was much harder. So this is very easy. We're seeing a lot of people actually going to visit the project because of that. You can, make it a weekend, stay a couple of days, and there's a lot to do around there. Okay. Appellation is the brand of the hotel chain that Amayali is going to be part of. This is a pretty new chain that was created by an executive from Four Seasons, Christopher Hunsberger, and Michelin star chef Charlie Palmer. He has won many awards, and they created the Appellation hotels, which are focused on culinary and wellness. Okay, so this is the focus of all of the hotels in this chain. Some of the hotels are already open, already operating, are getting, very good reviews. And now we're going to talk about the investment structure. Okay, so here we're going to see the numbers. These are, summary of the costs. For anyone that wants more details, we can send all the documentation, business plans, everything showing even more details. But $209 million is the cost of the whole project, considering the homes. Okay, if you take out the homes, it's about half of that. So that is the part that your EB-5 investment would be going to, is for the hotel portion of the project. Next slide, please. Okay, so here again, you see the EB-5 is a senior position, the only credit in the capital stack. You see equity and C-PACE equity, which is something that certain projects that have certain qualifications, renewable energies, depending on how it is being built, you can apply for this type of equity that almost acts, it's something that needs to be paid back, but it's a very long-term investment that that the developer is going to be able to repay in many, many years. So this is part of the reason why this project doesn't have a bank involved, which would be senior to the EB-5 investors. Okay, so as I mentioned, the EB-5 investment represents a small portion of the total cost, which is about 30%. Okay, this is pretty low compared to many other projects out there.
I love this slide, Bruna, and I love to discuss the capital structure. This is important for investors, for petitioners to understand. The project out there that you're investing is just a regular project. It's a developer building a hotel or a developer building a shopping mall. It's real world business enterprise. And as every other development, they have their capital structure. For EB-5 purposes, a tranche of that capital structure is EB-5 investment. So then you need to look what are the other portions of the capital structure. In other words, where's the money coming from? And this slide shows something that's very beneficial. 50%, if I'm not wrong, yeah, it's 50% equity, meaning it's coming from developers. It's coming from people who have skin in the game. So this is very important, and as Bruna mentioned, it is something that you don't usually see an equity that high. It does reduce the risk of the EB-5 investors, no question about it.
If you can go to you can pass to the next one. I want to show here. As I said, the 209 million is the total cost. The one before, please, is the total cost of the project. But the hotel, the cost to complete is 129. Okay, you have access to the valuation, which is 142 million at stabilization, which is a $12 million appreciation. So 142 million compared to the total loan amount of 63, okay, that's more than 2 times, okay, something to consider again, showing, very strong position financially for the EB-5 investors. Okay. And like I said, targeted completion is 2028, so 2 years from now. This is a 4-year investment. Okay.
4 year?
4-year.
Okay.
Four
It's
year.
short.
Yeah, it used to be many projects were 5 years. The rules for investors to stay invested in the project has changed a little bit. So now we have been able to lower to 4. I know that there are some projects out there that have structured as 3 years, but we find that very difficult for someone to repay.
I have seen 7, so 4
Yeah.
years is great.
To repay in 3 years is just very hard, considering that this is a 2-year construction, needs to stabilize. So this one is a 4-year. And then in the interest of time, just want to show the one slide that has all the companies involved. This one, okay? So under the new EB-5 program, we need to have a fund administrator, which is JTC, which is probably the best in the industry. That is who we use for Amayali. Baker Tilly they're the economists that do the jobs report. So all of these companies, they're independent to FPP and, have either helped in structuring or managing this investment throughout the life cycle of your investment. The escrow agent that we use is ampersand. So we do use an escrow bank. You don't send your investment directly to the project. So I think I have passed already my time here. The next pages are pretty much just photos. As I said,
nice.
we have real photos too, as you can see here from our visits, and we continue to send them to potential investors or to actual investors of the project.
You're on time. We have some questions, but you are on time, so I will pass.
Yeah, I guess we can just show here some of these photos, and for anyone that wants to talk and learn more about Amayali, just feel free to contact me. I could talk about this for hours. Yeah.
Everyone, I will leave here on the screen. There are some questions that we will answer now. But as we answer those questions, I will leave on the screen the contact information for Bruna and myself. But I have a special invite for you tomorrow in Miami. Bruna and I will be in Miami in person to answer questions and have a one-on-one conversation with you. That meeting is going to happen at the BR Nation Hub, which is on 128 Northwest 28th Street in Miami. Okay, the address is right here. It's going to be 10 a.m. local time. join us. Feel free to come. There will be refreshments being served. Bruno and I will be there to host you and answer questions in person, okay? Um, here's Bruno's contact information. Here's mine. You have my email, my LinkedIn. Follow us on the social media, and then we'll be in touch. Oh, here we go. Your contact information, Bruno. Let me get some questions here. Let me get this one. Do you recommend adjusting the status or not? It's more like a legal question. Do you recommend adjusting the status or not? Well, first of all, remember, you can only adjust status if you are in the United States when we file the I-526. Whether we recommend or not depends on your specific case. Given that the time for the adjudication of the I-526 is pretty fast nowadays, adjusting the status is a feasible and sometimes advisable strategy. Not always. We need to assess your case specifically. For example, if you travel a lot or you need to travel a few days or a few weeks after petition, then we would most likely not recommend adjusting the status, but it's a case-by-case analysis. Bruna, let me get one here for you. What are the most common mistakes investors make during the process? How can it be avoided? I guess more on an investment perspective.
Mhm.
What should be avoided on an investment perspective?
Well, I was actually thinking of something on the immigration side as well, so I'll start with
No,
that.
go
Just
ahead,
because
go
it's
ahead.
something that I just got someone reached out to me with a denial from, not in one of our projects, but
Mhm.
not with Drummond either. And in this case, it was that they did not work with experienced professionals in EB-5. So I would say very important, work with an actual immigration attorney in the United States, someone that is licensed and with a reputable regional center. Okay, that I would say, I think that's the most important thing.
Bruna, one thing that as you mentioned, I reminded here. Remember, we need to show the source and tracing of funds. So when determining the strategy of the case, it is advisable for us to choose the most straightforward source and tracing of funds. I will give you an example. Let's say you inherited some money 20 years ago. You inherited $800,000 20 years from now. If we choose that source of money, source of funds, we will need to trace everywhere that money went from 20 years back until now. So we need to trace, justify, and evidence every single transaction of that money from 20 years ago until you invest in the original seed. On the other hand, and the same person, okay, comes to us and say, I sold my business last month. All we need to do is to take the source of funds of that sale of the business, trace 1 month until investment. So here's a tip for you, get to the do's and don'ts. Choose the most straightforward source of money that you have. Some people have just one source of funds and one tracing. Okay, but if you have many, choose the most straightforward. It's going to facilitate the analysis. That's always a good practice. Okay.
And just one last thing that I will mention too
Sure.
that I see a lot is people waiting until the last minute. So
Oh, don't do it.
it takes time. So if you're thinking about this for a while and you haven't started the process, which means hiring the immigration attorney, that's the first step. From the point you start the process, it could take months. the job that the immigration attorney does is probably the most complicated of the whole process and takes time. So, don't think that this is something that's going to happen in a few weeks. It can take time. It's going to depend a lot on also you having available the documentation that the attorney requests. So, like we said, there are deadlines coming up. Some people have kids turning 21 years old, so you can only include your kids until they're 21. You need to make sure you file before they're 21. So don't leave this for the last minute.
Great point, great point. And that touches on two questions here about family and kids. Good that you brought this in. One question is, the green card allows for residency for wife and kids? Yes, spouse are included and kids until 21. Kids older than 21 are out of the petition. Okay, then you need to do an EB-5 for the kid above 21. Kind of similar question here. For families investing together, what are the main considerations regarding dependents, age-out scenarios, and long-term planning? Pretty much what we just said, right? Spouses are dependents. Spouse and children under 21 are dependents. They are included in the petition. Age-out scenarios is your children will age out when they turn 21, but if you file before 21, you should be fine. Long-term planning is, in terms of long-term planning or planning, I should say, if you have children involved, it's always better to start very soon to plan for school, okay? You don't want to find yourself in a situation where your kids should be going to school and your green card is not yet approved, and you need to make plans. Act quickly. Bruna, I think this one you can take it. What should investors expect regarding return on investment in modern EB-5 projects? What's usually the return?
So this is the investment you'll make, not expecting to make high returns. Okay, very important. The objective of this investment is to obtain the green card and your investment back. Okay, like any other type of investment, the higher the return, the higher the risk, right? So EB-5 investments usually pay between 0 and 3% per year on average. This project pays on average 1.5%, is 3%, but it only starts to accrue after the construction has finalized. So anything more than that, I would say to be very careful.
Good point. Good point. Again, this is the classic risk and return, right? All investments. The more the return, the riskier the investment is usually. So on EB-5, usually investors should not be looking for return, should be looking for a reliable regional center with a good track record to make sure that first, you're getting your green card, jobs are being created. Second, you're getting your money repaid. These are the top priorities for you guys, okay? We are 5 minutes past the time. Bruno, we do have other questions here, but just in the interest of time here, here's what I will do. I will direct people to go meet us tomorrow again, 10 a.m. local time in Miami. We'll be hosting this event for people that are interested in knowing better, getting more information. There will be folders for you to take out home and show your family about the project, refreshments being served. It's going to be a very nice conversation. So I hope we can host all of you there with us. Bruna, any last words before we wrap up? Thank you very much again. I think it's great to bring this type of information to the public.
Yes, no, thank you for joining me and for having me. I'm actually at Drummond's office in Miami right now.
Very welcome.
Yeah. So for those that can make it tomorrow, we'll be very happy to meet you all in person, or we can talk at any other time. Just contact us
Your
and we can
contact
schedule.
information is on the screen right now.
Yeah. Yeah. We can schedule an individual meeting to understand about your specific situation and answer any questions that you may have.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Okay.
So thank you everyone for joining us. Lucas, thank you again. Drummond Communication Department doing a great job again, putting together this webinar, reached out so many people with good and reliable information. Bruna, once again, thank you for joining us above everything. And first of all, thank you for being such a great business partner of ours. Our clients do need people like you that can present reliable and trustworthy project for clients to invest. So thank you again for being such a great business partner of ours. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you the same. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. So I see you tomorrow, or send us messages on our business, on our contact. Here's our contact information. I look forward to meeting you, touching base with you, okay? Thank you very much, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.